that was one of the big reasons. We don't realize it now. The British did not want to turn loose of these colonies. They had the largest fleet of sailing ships in the world, and we had the best pitch in the world. Prior to the New World being discovered, I guess the bulk of it came from Scandinavia. They and their pitch or their tar and products were not as good as these. This one, you can see a couple of stakes embedded in the tar. This kiln was fired at least twice. I cut a test hole and there was leaves matted between 2 layers of tar. But this was hard work. My grandfather actually fired one of these, and he said that they would go lie out on a cotton, they called them a cotton sack, which was nothing but a piece of burlap, and they would lay out on the ground and hang around this thing, and like you said, you had to tend to it like firing a tobacco barn. You had to stay with it. And he said when they came home, they were black. They were sooty and nasty, and it was a lot of hard work, because the wood might be piled up 8 or 10 feet high in these things, and you might cook off $2 or $3 worth of tar. So these people, a lot of it was done after the Civil War. We had no industry. People were poor. But the trees were here, so it was a resource, and it didn't cost them anything to at least try to make $1 or $2, and that's what they were up to. This one, I knew when we found it, I knew it was a tar kiln because of this ridge, but this thing was full of dirt. There were actually trees growing inside, but the roots would not penetrate that tar, and I have to dip this thing out every time we want to have a show because it stays full of water. And I cut a hole couple of feet in the ground, and the ground is so saturated with tar it still won't permeate those soils.
So you found this, you didn't know it was here before you...
Yeah, I knew this was a tar kiln, and they're scattered around, and I joke about this is the only thing on the site I didn't move here. Every one of the buildings that we're going to visit I moved here, but this kiln was here. Also, we found axe head, shovel head, found a Peel Brothers beer bottle. Now that was made in Brooklyn, New York, and those guys probably needed some help getting through all this they were doing. So if we ever determine when that beer bottle was made, we'll know when this kiln was fired. But it was probably early 1900, about 1900. Okay?
Wow.
We're going to walk back up the hill to the first cabin, and we're going to talk about the other segment of long lead pine technology.